We've been on the beach this week. We've been on the beach with Peter. We've been on the beach with Peter as he has an encounter with the resurrected Jesus. An encounter which would change the trajectory of his life. But also an encounter which would strike the match, as it were, that would ignite the early church into a flame that would burn forever. Was it not Jesus himself who said to Peter that upon this rock he would build his church? You see, Peter was a totally different man after his encounter on the beach with Jesus. His life was forever changed. Here is the man, Peter, who receives the Holy Spirit at Pentecost. Here is the man who would go on to preach to a crowd of over 3,000, from which 3,000 would be saved. Here is a man who, through the power of the Holy Spirit, heals a lame man. Here is a man who keeps preaching despite the threat of imprisonment. Here is a man who confronts a sorcerer. Here is a man who raises Tabitha from the dead. Here is a man who brings the gospel to Cornelius. Here is a man who is freed from prison by an angel. Here is a man who writes 2 letters to Christians facing persecution in Asia Minor. Here is a man who would one day be executed in Rome under Nero for his faith. Here is a man who on the beach that morning had the trajectory of his life changed forever. Yes, Peter the failure, Peter the hothead, Peter the loudmouth, Peter who was always putting his foot in it. Yes, the very same Peter, the most unlikely character, was the very one, the catalyst, whom Jesus used and would use in the birth of the early church. Jesus took him on that trajectory from fisherman to founder. Peter became the catalyst on which Jesus would build his church. Let me finish today, and indeed our reflections this week, under the theme of For Your Ears Only, with a story of wee Jimmy. Wee Jimmy was part of a church in the north of Scotland where one night after a gospel meeting he gave his life to Christ. And a few weeks later, wee Jimmy's at the evening service when they begin to pass round the offering plate, and Jimmy, sitting at the end of the row, says, could you put it on the floor? And the deacons say, no, Jimmy, that's not what we do. You need to pass it along the row. It doesn't matter if you don't have 10 pence or 20 pence to put in, Jimmy. But Jimmy insisted, no, please, put it on the floor. So they put the offering plate on the floor, and when Jimmy stepped in it, he said these words: I don't have a lot, Lord, but I am all in till it's all over. I don't have a lot, Lord, but I am all in till it's all over. Words that could well have been attributed to Peter. That could well have been Peter's declaration after Jesus had restored him. I don't have a lot, Lord, but I am all in till it's all over. If Jesus Christ has restored you, Jesus asks you the same question as he asked it of Peter. Do you love me. And perhaps you need to be restored, to sit, as it were, around the fire with Jesus, to come to that quiet place, perhaps even a beach, to hear Jesus calling you and to have that fresh encounter with him as the resurrected Christ. Whatever you need to do, will our response to Jesus be as was Peter's, following that resurrection encounter he had with him? Will it be, I don't have a lot, Lord, but I'm all in till it's all over? Peter on the beach that morning, following breakfast, had that encounter which would forever change the trajectory of his life. He would become the catalyst for the founding of the early church. And Peter declared, I don't have a lot, Lord, but guess what? I'm all in till it's all over. Are we all in, like Peter, till it's all over?